All right, Chooms, here we are, headed for Night City. After playing through this game about a dozen times and putting in almost 2,000 hours on it, I feel I have a few things to contribute, suggestions to make to new players or people that have only played casually and want to get back into the game more deeply. So I'm going to start from scratch here and just give a few pointers so you're not walking past treasures or missing out on things that would enhance your gameplay experience a great deal. Here goes. Now I'm going to select normal here. Hard is hard, very hard is very hard. If you want a game that will occasionally or may even frequently frustrate you, very hard is the way to go. Normal, however, for demonstration purposes, let's do that. Now here we have the 3 life paths you can follow. For the main game, it doesn't matter a great deal which one you choose, but for the intro, it does make a difference. Also, there's dialogue changes and a few events in each life path that are unique. Frankly, I think CDPR could have done more, but it is what it is. Now, I did the Nomad life path first, and it's still my favorite, so we'll go that way. It's also the most action-packed. Now, I am going to try to work around the action so you can experience it for yourself for the first time, even if you watch this. So either I'll edit the video or there will be timestamps where you can simply bypass it. Oh, there. That music is crazy, isn't it? So here we go, Nomad. Okay, you can play as male and female, or female. I'll just point out that these tattoos are a mod I'm using on female bodies. They're really cool. I use a number of mods. They won't play too much into the this early part of the game, but I'll point out anything that you might not see or experience in your own playthrough without mods. I recommend not playing with mods until you've been in the game for a while and you really know what you want to do. So let's pick the male guy. Now, you want to set the appearance. You've got some presets here. There's this guy who's sort of black. This guy who's basically Caucasian. And this guy who's sort of Asian. One of the problems with these presets, though, and I mean, you can change the appearance quite a bit. So if you want to have your main player look like yourself, or your best friend, or some video game hero that you like, you can certainly do that. But one problem is that the voice tone is either, at least in the English American game, is pretty much your standard Caucasian white guy voice. So it could be a bit jarring if you change up the appearance. The ethnic factor really isn't there. What I like to do now is just hit this randomizer, and it will give you all kinds of ideas of things you can do. Basically, often what I will do is just keep going with this until I find something that looks interesting, and then I will come over here and change it some. Now, the eyes, he's a pretty reasonable looking guy. I like him. Now, I'll go into this a little bit more later. These are the basic attributes you can put on your character. Now, it tells you here what they do. Body is raw physical power, as it says. It also enables you to use heavy shotguns and light machine guns effectively. You have to get it up to 10. Now, we're not going to go there now. but I think 6 is a good place to start. Intelligence, this is net running stuff. If you want to be a cyberpunk, this is stuff you have to go into. However, it does not figure into the early game very much. What you want in the early game is basic combat ability. So you want body strength and you want reflexes. Now, it doesn't get into it too much, but reflexes have to do with how well you can use standard firearms, rifles, pistols, sniper rifles, submachine guns. And you will be using those a lot in the early game. So we'll put those there. Technical ability, once again, in the very early game, doesn't matter too much, but we'll put our last point there. Now, cool. Let's see. Cool has to do with your ninja abilities. Once again, in the early game, not quite so important. It also has to do with cold blood, which is a quality that essentially enhances all these other ones. So that is something you can leave a little while, but you might want to build in later. My first few games, I pretty much ignored the cold blood aspect. I didn't understand what it was. It's not well explained in the game, but it's interesting to play around with. So here we are. And we can go back and change any of that if we decide we don't like it, but we'll confirm it right now. And here we go. Now, what you have to realize is this game has a story. It has a beginning, which we're going to be looking at. It has a middle, and it has an end. You're not exactly on rails, but at the same time, it's not a complete sandbox where you can go anywhere, do anything you want. It definitely has a plan for the way the game goes. So realize that. It's not like GTA or, I don't know, any of those other games where you just run around and do all kinds of stuff. There's a story going on here, and you have to be on board with that. And here's V deciding that he's no longer a member of his Nomad clan.
Coupling module.
You said it was nothing serious when I came in.
And he's
said
done
you were
with it.
sure.
There are not a lot of choices
to
make in this early game.
Shop where they won't ask a lone nomad why he's hugging the border.
Now, there's stuff to pick up here. Even just junk, you should pick it up. Loot, 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 loot. This is the view I prefer to drive in. You can drive in the car. First person, I don't like it. Also, I use a keyboard and mouse exclusively in this game. Some people find a controller works better, especially for driving. Don't know if that's the case. I've never done it. But it's something you might want to consider. Driving can be a bit of a problem in this game. I am using a mod that kind of straightens a lot of it out. And you just press your basic action key to get in and out of your vehicles. There, that's what that extra body points, those extra body points are for. Now, I'm just going to have a quick look around here. There's a few bits of junk to pick up, and I'll talk more about that later. Looking at trash heaps, looking in corners, looking every place, you will find stuff. and there will be a loot marker on it. A lot of this stuff I'll probably edit out, or at least timestamp, so you can buy. You do get out to the Badlands. The loot? Oh, yes, there is. We'll just have a little look. And a little bit of explanation. Okay, spray paint. You pick up a lot of junk in this game. Now, here's your basic inventory. As you can see, our V has the clothes he stands up in, and hardly a thing more. He's got his pistol. He has 250 rounds of ammunition, which is very respectable. This little exclamation mark up here marks it as a quest item, so you can't sell it or drop it or disassemble it for parts or anything like that. As we go along here, you will get faceware, which is basically masks and glasses of various kinds, headgear, helmets, all kinds of things. Down here, you've got a quick access to combat gadgets, which is mostly grenades, but also some other things. Over here is consumables, which will be mainly your health boosters. One of the nice things about this game is that they do not make it difficult by shorting you on health boosters or ammunition. You can run low on ammunition, but there's usually lots of it around, and stocking up is a real good idea, keeping it high. Over here, we've got your statistics on your character. Your basic level is here. It goes up to 50, and you only need 1,000 points at the lowest levels to level up. As you increase in level towards 50, it will take more and more points to get there. So this slows down a bit as time goes on in the game. Down here is your street cred. It's a different type of leveling up. As you add to your street cred, you'll get to places where the weapon vendors will have new weapons, clothing stores will have new and better items for purchase, and Ripper Docs will sell you new cyberware, and we'll talk about that later. Various things you wear and do will add to your armor strength, and here you can get an idea of the kind of armor and strength that you can work up. You don't have to particularly max any of this out, but it's worth varying it depending on what kind of challenges you're facing. We added to our body rating, so our health and stamina is a little higher than it would be if we hadn't added that. You will regenerate health and stamina, and as time goes on, the RAM recovery of your cyberware will also recover, but we'll talk more about that later. Let's see what else. Up here, you have the weight of what you're carrying. I guess it's pounds, although it's kind of arbitrary. Obviously, you're very light at this point. 200 is a lot, but you have to get rid of stuff if you go over this number. But it's easy to do. We'll talk about that later. Money is important in the game. You will want to add money so you can buy weapons and cyberware and clothing and other things. It takes some work early in the game to build that up. It's a grind, in fact. But don't be dismayed when this number doesn't go up. Once again, we'll talk more about it later. Let's see, so that's health. Other, these are other things. There are ways of reducing damage if you take a fall or jump from a height. Carrying capacity, obviously. Movement speed, this can be increased with modifications. Oxygen, your oxygen use can be improved. There's a few underwater adventures in this, although I think the game was originally planned to have a lot more. You get a lot of oxygen boosters for spending time underwater. You use very few of them. Over here, I also have a mod that tells me the number of kills in the game. This number goes up considerably. Once again, back to inventory, your backpack. Now, we have a weapon. You'll have more weapons in here. You have clothing, get lots more of those. Consumables, this is basically food and drink. You'll also see health boosters in here, things like that. More about that later. Junk is junk. Now, every piece of junk you pick up is worth €3. They call them eddies, euro dollars, in the game. You can sell this, or look down there, lower right, you can disassemble them to increase your crafting components. Crafting is fairly important in this game. It's not essential, but you can do a lot to improve your weapons, your armor, various things. You will also get components for quick hacks. Once again, we'll be talking more about that later, but you will collect these components as well. So, as you can see, you disassemble an ashtray, you get an extra component. We'll just let these accumulate. Crafting. Now, in the game, you can craft your ammo. You never have to run out of ammo as long as you have your crafting materials. Let's see, pistol ammo. If you want more pistol ammo, we could, if we wanted to, add to our pistol ammo stash. Not necessary. 250 rounds will take you a long way. We can craft a grenade, one grenade. You'll accumulate plenty of those. You can make a health booster. If we disassembled a few more of those items, we could make 2 health boosters. But you'll accumulate lots of those as well. You can make weapons, but so far we're blocked. We have to go up a little bit in our technical level to be able to craft weapons. Basic weapons are common. You'll see this white bar. Uncommon weapons, they're a little bit more powerful. They might have some properties that are a little more interesting than the basic ones. You need to go up a little higher in your tech level to be able to craft them. But it's very nice that if you really need to, and if you have the materials, you can craft a knife, a shotgun, a sniper rifle. The only problem is with the sniper rifle at this level, you see there's a scope on it here. You won't get a scope. And a sniper rifle without a scope doesn't make a whole lot of sense, although maybe it's not useful. Upgrading. Once again, we don't have enough materials to upgrade anything here, but this is how you do it. You have to reach level 2 to upgrade your pistol. As you can see, it goes up from 65 DPS, that's damage per second, to 74, which is a pretty substantial boost at the early part of the game. Same thing for clothing. Clothing's armor rating will go up higher. If you add, although normally it's not that useful to upgrade clothing, it's better just to find clothing or armor with a higher rating. You don't get a lot out of upgrading it, and it's an expensive process to get anywhere good. Okay, your map. Here's your map. There is all of Night City. Now, I don't think it'll spoil anything too much. I don't know why this is here. However, in the early part of the game, you are restricted to the area of Watson. And there's plenty to do here. And the enemies you encounter here will, for the most part, be well within your capabilities of dealing with. Different areas of the city, the gangs and baddies here will have much higher danger ratings, and the game will tell you if the danger is high or very high, or even extreme, I think. But it'll be a while before you're exploring that area. You'll see lots of these. This is a police scanner job. What happens here is something is going on. You work for the police and you go there and deal with the situation. Good fun. Over here you've got filters. I don't know why the main job is turned off, but we aren't into the main job right now. Gigs are specific jobs that a fixer will give you. Fixers are intermediaries between customers and mercenaries. They will give you these jobs. They pay out. There's lots of treasure to pick up. They're lots of fun. Cyber psychos. Cyber psychos are people who have been driven homicidally crazy by overindulging in their cyberware. And those are others that you have to deal with. Won't say more about those. You get to discover it. Night City Police Department scanner. Well, we discussed it. It's this kind of thing. There's fast travel points. I don't recommend overuse of them early in the game. You don't really need to. And there's so much to see and do on the streets of Night City that you can just walk or run anywhere. And you will, believe me, you'll enjoy it. Ripper Docs. Ripper Docs are medical specialists that install cyberware. They also act as emergency medical techs at a lower level. Vendors. Vendors are people that sell you stuff. Big surprise. Food, weapons, clothing, medicine. All of them, however, can be used as a drop point, which is where you can sell all the stuff you pick up for cash. It's very valuable. Pick stuff up, sell it. You'll accumulate money faster and faster as you make your way through the game. Exploration. Exploration is just points of interest. Sometimes it'll be bars you want to go to. All kinds of interesting stuff. You don't necessarily have to look at it, but it's something else to do when shooting bad guys starts to get boring. You'll be offered vehicles throughout the game by the fixers. You don't have to buy a single vehicle in this game. You will get a number of vehicles for free as you progress through the game. So I don't recommend you buy one unless you really feel like you want to. Apartment for rent. The last upgrade patch for the game added several apartments that you can buy. They aren't terribly expensive, and if you feel like you want a different change of scenery or whatever reason, you can buy one of those apartments. They're interesting environments. Tarot. There are murals out there. They're kind of mysterious. You basically collect the tarot cards and they get interpreted for you. They sort of play into the storyline, not in a direct way, but they have a certain amount of meaning depending on the location they're found and who's talking about them. It's interesting. Your apartments and vehicles. You will get an apartment. You will get vehicles, and this will tell you where they are located, but more about that later. After a while, it gets kind of hard. If you have all these things up on your map, it'll be very crowded, and you may want to just switch some of these off for a while so you don't get lost or confused. Character. Now, once again, we're talking about attribute points. Each of these numbers is an attribute point. As you remember, we added them at the beginning of the game when we were creating our character. You will collect these as you move through the game. Every attribute point, every time you level up, you will get 50 additional attribute points. And if you add all these up, you should come to the number 71. That is the maximum number of attribute points. Each of these will go up to 20. So in theory, you could have 20 cool, 20 reflexes, 20 intelligence. You will be a hell of a net runner then. And you'll still have 11 points left to put on body and reflexes, or technical ability, or whatever. Towards the end of the game, however, when you're starting to run low, you're going to have to make some very hard decisions about how those work. Perk points. As you gain experience in each area, you will receive a perk point, and you will use those to purchase these various abilities and qualities. As you can see, we're at the lowest level here, but we have 6 bodies, so we get these. There's pack mule, so you can increase your carry number. Don't really recommend this. I find it easier to sell goods as I accumulate them. You know, if you can carry some more, it just means that you have to sell a little less often, so I don't recommend it. Regenerating health during combat, that's a good thing. You will want that. Reducing fall damage, not quite so important. It's worth considering. To get to the maximum level, it's probably 15%. You will need to spend 3 perk points in here. Now, as you progress using a skill, here is where you will receive your perk points. So you can actually count up and see how many perk points you will get as time goes on. For instance, if you put another attribute point in here and raise your body to 7, you will get another perk point here. Athletics in particular, though, you will accumulate the skills very slowly. So going much past 10, even though it's very tempting to do so, isn't always the best idea. But you can judge for yourself as you go along. If you run, if you jump, if you swim, if you engage in brawls, you will add to your athletics a little more quickly, but it's a slow grind. Now, annihilation is interesting. It's included in here. It's about shotguns and light machine guns. You need to get to 10 body to be able to effectively use heavy shotguns and light machine guns. Regular shotguns, no big deal. So you can buy one of these as a perk. Once again, I don't recommend you jump on it too quickly. As you can see, as you level up, the next level up, we could buy this perk. And there's 2 of them there, so 10%, maybe 20%. If you want to use shotguns a lot in this game, that would be good to have. I generally recommend not going much past 10 up here. Excuse me, I'm going to cough for a second here. Street Brawler, if you like brawling games, kicking, punching, boxing, some of these are good to have. You can judge for yourself as time goes on. Blunt weapons includes fists. There is a boxing component. I'm not a big fan of martial arts or boxing games. However, there is a component of that in this game, and it's a lot of fun. It's funny, I don't like racing games either, and yet there's a component in the game where you do some road racing, and I enjoy that a lot. It's a great game. There's something for everybody. Reflexes. As I mentioned before, reflexes are about your personal weapons. So you've got rifles and submachine guns, all kinds of things you can do with those. You can add power, abilities, increase damage to enemies. You can improve your headshot damage with sniper rifles and precision rifles. Handguns, same things. You can increase your reload time. You can improve your reload time, make it shorter. You can increase your headshot damage. All kinds of good time. Increase damage generally. If you want to use pistols a lot, this is the one to get into. Blades, if you like katanas, there's lots of blades in this game. Small blades, large blades, crazy blades. There's also monowire, which is a cyber weapon. Won't discuss that. You can discover that for yourself as time goes on, but we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about Ripper Dogs. All kinds of good stuff in here. This number overall opens up all these perk areas, so you can figure out for yourself what you want to do here. As overall in the game, you will receive somewhere roughly around 110 perks. They are precious. It sounds like a lot, but as you get towards your fully developed character, you won't have enough to fully develop every skill. So, as I say, you have to make some decisions. Technical ability. Now, technical ability is two things. There's crafting. You don't have to put a lot into this, although you should at least get true craftsman so you can get rare items. Rare items, which is clothing and weapons, they get to be of an interesting power level. Sometimes you actually may keep a rare weapon because it has special qualities that you find, and you'll keep that to the end of the game. So you don't necessarily have to go past this. But to open doors and do a number of technical things in the game, you want to go up in this a little bit. Engineering. Now, once again, this is weapon related. There's a class of weapons called tech weapons in this game, and they basically shoot through walls. But they take a charge up to go to full power. So let's see here. There's one. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, reduces the charge amount needed for tech weapons to penetrate walls. So you have to go pretty high to nab that guy. If you like using tech weapons, well, you'll figure out what you want to do about it. Also grenades and explosions. I find that blast shielding is a very useful one to have. A lot of bad guys throw grenades at you. It's kind of crazy. Plus, there's a lot of explosive stuff around. If you're standing too close when an enemy hits it, you're in trouble. Intelligence. All right, now this is net running. It's fabulous. Breaching is basically reducing the strength of protections against you, your cyberware. Also, it's about taking over various enemies' devices, all kinds of things. It takes a bit of research to figure this one out. If you want to be a cyberpunk, this is the one you want to get into. Also, quick hacking. Quick hacking is basically magic spells. This is the science fiction cyberpunk version of magic spells. You can strengthen the spells. You can increase the speed at which you get your power to use them back. You can increase their duration, the amount of RAM if your cyberdeck you need. More about that later. How far they spread among your enemies. All kinds of great stuff. Finally, cool down here. Partly it's ninjutsu, so if you want to be a stealthy ninja, you want to get into this stuff. Basic level, a lot of interesting stuff, but a lot of it is involved with poison weapons. I'm not a fan of that. It just kind of squicks me out. Although I'm getting to learn to like it. But there's a lot of these qualities that are quite valuable. Cold blood. Cold blood is difficult to understand. Basically, it amps up the skills that you develop elsewhere. Cold blood takes effect when you kill an enemy, basically, defeat an enemy, and they will power you up briefly or less briefly, depending on how you distribute your points in here. This is another one that develops slowly. It won't develop at all, by the way, until you put a perk right there. So one of your first perks that you earn, you can earn it in any skill and put it anywhere in this tree. I would recommend putting one of the first ones you get here, and you will start to accumulate points, and then you will get perks, and it will improve things like your health, your armor, resistances to various harmful things. Definitely worth having, but it develops slowly, especially as you get up into the higher levels. It'll take tens of thousands of points using cold blood to get into the upper levels. Basic story is that even going to 10 or 12 in any of these will seriously improve your abilities and all skills. Don't feel that you have to max any of these out. Doing that, perhaps in a later game, when you want to specialize in something and really explore it, that's a lot of fun. But it's not necessary in an early game. But play the game the way you want to. That's what it's all about. Now, your journal basically tells you about the jobs, either the one you're doing or other jobs that are available to you. As you can see, return to the car, pretty easy quest. But, take time to read a lot of this stuff. You will pick up and understand a lot more about what's going on in the game. I've seen so many people saying things, I don't understand why I have to talk to this person. I don't understand why I have to pay this person. Well, the details are all right here. And if you listen to what's going on in the game, you will understand. It's like a movie where you have to watch to pick up on clues to understand what's going on. It's not just running and gunning and looting. Stats, we looked at stats earlier. Messages. Okay, you will get phone messages here, text messages from various characters. You'll see them here, nothing yet. Shards. Now, I picked up a couple of shards here. These give background for the game, the world of Night City and the world of 2077. A lot of interesting stuff. If you like science fiction, if you like world building, this is the stuff that you really want to get into. It's interesting. It's really interesting. This is really a very deep game. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to know and understand. And a lot of this background it'll improve your experience. It really will. All right, time to get back to the car. Look.
Chick we're looking for is somewhere in this building. Probably crawling with the pendejos that kidnapped her. Eyes and ears open, all right? Speaking of which, got you a little something. Militech training shard. In case you need to brush up on your dance moves. Down for some target practice in VR?
Okay, I'm not going to do this. I recommend that you do this when you play the game. Remember what gets said and done. It's important, but we won't go through it now.
Not now, Jack. No time. Maybe later.
Unfortunately, you can only do it once.
Mañana.
Let's do this.
Elevator. This way.
Now this gets you into your first bout of combat. I'm going to record it. Now, just crouch here. There's there. They'll try to hurry you up. You don't have to hurry. Do what you need to do.
Target
55 years in the
Sanford,
future,
Dorset. Target's
54
biomark
years
was
in the
viewed a couple
future.
hours back. Suspected abduction. Target could have possibly flatlined already. Not sure you're in time.
We're in time, Bug. We. Sure you're on phones, but that don't make you any less part of this squad.
Squad. Charming.
Elevators are still stupidly slow.
Bug, you could at least try to be nice.
You want nice, supportive? Call a damn helpline.
Now remember,
Looking for 1237.
this isn't a
Target should be
sandbox.
inside, but I got 0 eyes on her biomon. Fingers crossed it's not too late.
Is that you?
Ugh, I hate this life or death shit. Hurry, try hacking the door. Think you can trip it on your own, V?
Okay, now, V has been in Night City for 6 months. He still only has one crappy pistol and not his revolver from the intro. Still has just the clothes he stands up in, although we've picked up a few things. He does, however, have a cyberdeck. This is a very basic model, but he can use short circuit, and be sure to read what it does. There's also this reboot optics. Basically, these are magic spells you can use as weapons. The deck itself will do things like open doors. You can scan stuff. Very useful. And these can be improved as the game goes along. This doesn't work on every door, but it works on many.
No profile.
Take a second, pick stuff up. There's some health boosters available in this area.
Your move, V. Are we fucking late?
You're gonna want it.
Is that our target, V?
There, bounce back. You want that.
Sandra Dorset's protected under Echelon 2 Corporal Immunity. Our girl's top shelf. This one's packing black market Zetatech repros. Typical back alley fix-ups. Not our lucky gal. Let's keep looking.
V, mira. Eyes up. Pendejos ahead. Drop it quiet, V.
If you crouch, you move silently.
Baby steps, V. Enemies watching.
Now, drag this guy backwards and kill him. Now you can loot the body. If you stuff him in that freezer, actually, let's do that.
Body's gotta disappear. Can't get it. They find it, I say. They'll be on us like flies on shit. We don't want that.
More health boosters. You want those bad.
No.
Technically,
On your
they
toes. More bodies incoming. They're almost on you.
always crouch when you gotta move
Oh
quietly.
yeah, V. They're coming. Wait for your chance. Pick the prick off.
Score big on that Primas Grove she's got.
You learn all about that stuff, this stuff in that training shard.
This. Thick as locusts. Let's wait and plan a spree. Take one down. Just real quiet. Hey, grab the one closest. Let's take him. Suerte. All down. Limp meat. Probably not the last of them. Move on. Move up. Right behind you, V.
Loot the bodies. Always loot the bodies. Now, we're going to breach this guy. It lowers the resistance. You need less RAM if you want to use your cyberdeck. If you stay crouched, you can move very quietly. And most of these bad guys are really bad at looking around. That music winds you up too. Okay, we're going to short circuit that guy.
Don't see any movement on the sensors. Looks like you got him. You're clear to go.
Now Jackie fights like a lion in these.
Almost got me.
see any movement on the sensors. Looks like
Keep
you got
an eye on your health
Clear to go.
when you're in
Shit,
combat.
where the hell's our target?
Look around. Gotta be there somewhere.
Okay, where's that guy? There, picked up ammo, picked up a knife. Yeah, that's what I'm really after. Shotguns are very useful in this game. Now, this guy's got a grenade. This is a heavy machine gun. You can pick that up, you can use it, although not too effectively early in your gameplay. But you can't stash it in your hip pocket. Now, I just happen to know that... There.
Let's get out of here. Elevator gets us to the garage direct.
Good work. Shit show's over.
Okay, we'll just have a little look around.